So there's a concept called state story strategy by Tony Robbins. And I wanted to talk about this today because it's something that even my most productive friends and entrepreneurs and business owners that I know don't fully understand this concept. And it's the most important thing that I think can alter the trajectory of your life if you really can understand it. And so the way that state story strategy works is basically your state, the physiology, the way that your physical being is currently experiencing life, whether you're lethargic, you're tired, you're laying in bed versus, you just finished a workout or you're on a run. You feel the difference, and not only the differences of what you feel in the moment, but how you feel afterwards significantly affects, the way that you feel about life. You might notice this when you are in one of those situations, a workout, a run, whatever you're doing. You think and feel differently about your life. And so that's where the story comes in. So state is first, story is how you feel and the internal narrative that you're telling yourself and about life and your approach and your general demeanor towards life and your outlook. And so when you have a more optimistic, a more happy, a more energy-filled story, then that can dictate your strategy and how you approach whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And that is super important to be in an empowered state, to feel like you're on top of the world and you can do whatever you're trying to achieve. And often the case, what happens is you actually approach whatever the challenges that you're trying to solve with a different strategy, which usually makes all of the other strategies that you thought you had to do, all the steps that you thought you had to take to achieve the thing, you can approach it from a different angle because your story and your state are elevated, they're more superior. And so when you can approach life with a better strategy, you inevitably get to where you want to go faster and more effectively, and you're more resourceful, and you have more energy in the way that you show up to yourself and to other people and to situations better. This is also very common in like sales situations. For example, when you're on a phone call and if you just rolled out of bed, you're not going to sound very awake and alive. But when you just finished a workout, you're on a morning walk to the beach, or you're actually already awake and alive and your day is already going and you're feeling really good, how you show up, you're going to sound ready, prepared, excited, and that energy conveys and communicates to the person that's listening to you. And so which would you rather be? A person that sounds like they're still in bed, or a person that's already out conquering the day? And that really matters in every component of life, but especially in business. You want to sound like you're already crushing it. And so the best way to do that is actually to dictate your state. And so all of that is to say is that you can choose how you approach life and how the outcomes actually occur by moving and dictating your state. And so what are some of the best ways to do this? Going on a walk, getting sunlight, moving your body, oxygenating your body. This morning, I'm making this video now while I am priming my state for the day. Now, I could have just jumped right into work and gotten on my laptop and started working, which can be good. If that is your default state, you feel like you're very productive when you first wake up. I don't feel that way. I feel tired, and I'm working on improving that. But I know that every time I come to the beach and I get sun, I do some breath work, I do a little workout, I feel like my day is infinitely better afterwards. And I know that because I've done it before. And so if you haven't done this before, try it and you'll know what I mean. But you need to just do the basic things first. Go outside, put your feet in the sand or on the grass or whatever. Get some grounding, your feet actually connecting with the earth. This is to be human. You need to be connected to nature. Get sunlight. If you get sunlight, it immediately affects your circadian rhythm, the way that your brain associates being awake and alert with sunlight, which is something that we can dive into in another video. But you want to just do the things that being human requires. Getting fresh oxygen, moving your body, using your muscles, stretching, doing some deep breathing. These things are vital to feeling a baseline of optimal and vital. So make sure you're moving your body. If you can, eat a light breakfast or very, very quality protein and fats in the morning. Try not to be too overstimulated with caffeine and nicotine or whatever other stimulants that you use. And really just make sure that you're, moving your body, choosing the state that you want to be in. And this isn't only for the morning. If you feel like you're not having a good day, middle of the day, you can change your state anytime that you want. This is what something like Wim Hof breath work is really good for, or just going on a run, or any of the things, going to a yoga class, any of the things that change your state and that you feel better after doing it. Do those things. You're not going to always feel like doing the thing, especially if you're in a bad state. You're not going to feel like going to do the thing. But this is the part where you have to have the awareness and know that I want to change how I'm approaching life. And if you have the awareness that you're in a, you're not feeling good, you're not, what you're doing isn't working, you have a bad emotion, or you're just angry or upset or frustrated, whatever the thing is, you have to have the awareness that you want to change your state. And then you need to know what you can do. If you force yourself to do it, even in that bad state, you need to know that you can do these things that change your state. And so having the discipline and the will to actually just go and do those things, regardless of how you feel in the moment, that will then change your state, and that will change your story, and then that will change your strategy. And then you can save your approach, and you can save the day. You can save how you're approaching things. And so the most successful people that I know understand this. They change their story by changing their state, and that informs their strategy. And if you do this every single day, you then become a person that has a very high bar of your internal story, your internal narrative, and you can set the tone every single day knowing that you can do these things, and then you inform your internal narrative on how you're approaching life. And if you do this every single day, your life will be completely different. And so I invite you to try this, to try to shift how you see yourself from a human biological being, and understand that you have these ways of being that require movement, sunlight, nutrition, and that informs how you see yourself. And so take this seriously, really take some time to dive into how you can be your most vital self and actually do those things. That's why morning routines are so important. That's why all of the self-improvement market is flooded with these things, because they work. You need to focus on it, whatever it is, but move your body, get after it, and then from that position, you will change your life. So hopefully this is helpful for you. If it is, let me know what works for you in the comments, and hopefully what you do can help other people, and what you find works, it's going to be unique for you. My strategy, what I do to go to yoga or go to the gym or do breath work, might not work for you. So you need to find what works for you. But what matters is that you actually find it, that you actually try, you actually go out and figure out how you can live your most vital life so that you can have an amazing life. That's really what it comes down to. So always remember, state first, story second, strategy third. And so if you approach it from that angle, I promise you, your life will be better. So let me know how it works for you in the comments. See you in the next video.